Hello students, today's topic is mobile ad hoc networks, MANET. So this topic is already covered in the class, but already covered in the class, and now I'm taking this lecture again such that you can understand this concept in a more defined way, as well as it will be simpler for you for the end-sem examination. So MANET is called the mobile ad hoc networks. So first we have to understand what is the meaning of ad hoc, and the meaning of the mobile is already known by you. So ad hoc means temporary, means if we do certain thing that is not having some futuristic approach or some futuristic type of thing without thinking, as well as you can think like ad hoc means temporary or on the contract, as well as it is not planned or it is used for fulfilling of the particular needs, and after fulfilling of that need the network can be interrupted. So this type of network is called the ad hoc network, means a network in which the mobile devices are connected to the internet, or connectivity is maintained on the temporary basis or the ad hoc basis, that is called the ad hoc networks. So because in the networks, mobile are the entity which is used to perform the communication, which is used to access the data services from this network, that's why it is called mobile ad hoc network. So as the name indicates, mobile ad hoc networks, the mobile devices are ad hoc in nature. So means you can understand is there is no fixed infrastructure here in the mobile ad hoc networks. So normally it can be a multi-hop, it can be a single hop also. So not the single hop, because in the single hop the example of just like one wireless adapter, and I am having a mobile and I am communicating, I am connecting to the internet via this wireless adapter. So it is one hop network, but basically and majorly the mobile ad hoc networks are multi-hop point of communication, means one device is connected to another device is connected to first one is connected to the second one. So like this way a long chain is created. So that's why it is called there is no fixed infrastructure. Also, a mobile device can communicate or can connect to first node, as well as after some time it can connect to the some another node, and after some time it can connect to the some fourth or fifth node. So there is no infrastructure here, or no the special technological point of view significance here in the mobile ad hoc network. So first thing, the mobile's position are ad hoc as well as temporary. It can grant the connectivity from any entity involved in the communication, and a long chain is maintained in order to transmit the data from one node to the another node. So these are as you see that ad hoc networks are infrastructure less networks. So what is the advantages of ad hoc network? So advantages is that it has instant infrastructure. ठीक है, जहाँ पे कोई भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बहुत जल्दी से अवेलेबल नहीं हो सकता है और मेरे को एक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अवेलेबल कराना है, यहाँ पे इंस्टेंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का मतलब ये है कि जस्ट लाइक आई एम यूजिंग मोबाइल एंड आई एम एस्टेब्लिशिंग द मोबाइल ad hoc network. So I have no infrastructure currently, I have no connectivity, but when I am connecting to a particular node, and this node is connected to the Wi-Fi system, Wi-Fi adapter, then a later part a particular infrastructure will be created which is temporary. Okay, so not the infrastructure less, but a structure or infrastructure is created but for the temporary basis. So at this type of network invokes this feature that is called the mobile ad hoc network. The second one is called the disaster relief. So when any accidents like disaster happens, like earthquake or accident happens, then this mobile ad hoc network will play a very vital role, because it can provide the connectivity to the another users as well as another people, such that he and she can communicate with their neighbor ones, with their relative ones, as well as can call the ambulances or healthcare providers. Then the remote area. In the remote area, a lot of issues have been faced by the people, like the internet connectivity, limited internet connectivity. So suppose if you are residing in a remote area and in the neighborhood people, the house that is neighboring to you have the internet connectivity, but the password is protected. So now you can get the favor from your neighbor, just create the hotspot, and from requesting the password, by feeding the password, you can access the internet from their neighbor house. So this type of thing, like in the remote area situation, if anyone has a internet connectivity, then after the providing of hotspot feature, you can connect to the internet. Then what is the effectiveness? Mobile ad hoc network is very effective because it has a variety of application, and nowadays the total communication using the smartphone is dependent on the mobile ad hoc network protocols also. Then what is the ad hoc wireless network? Because your mobile ad hoc networks can be of two types, like the wired network as well as the wireless network. So in the wired network, there are desktop in your LAN system, and one LAN system can communicate with another desktop situated in the same LAN system. So this type of communication just is called the local communication between one desktop to another desktop in the LAN system, can be termed as a ad hoc network. Now you might be thinking, but there is infrastructure as well as the position is fixed. Actually, here I am not talking about the position, I am talking about the parent node from which it getting the services such that it can connect to the internet. So these parent node will get changed very rapidly. Suppose if I want to access internet and I am currently grant the services from one desktop, and after some time, when the services are interrupted, I am making a connectivity to another desktop. So this type of thing can be termed as a mobile ad hoc wired network, but I am talking about the mobile wireless network, in which we have to first concentrate upon the mobile devices as well as the laptops. So it is a temporary computer to computer connection. This computer must be in the wireless in nature, means your computer devices can be a laptop or the mobile phones. So no need of wireless access points to transfer the data. Obviously, one node can communicate, one node can use to provide the connectivity to another, and another one can use to provide the connectivity to some another node. So like this way you can transfer the data without any need of the wireless access point. You can share internet connection between the computers. Obviously, there is a sharing of data services between one node to another node, so that's why it is called mobile ad hoc network. More than on laptop can be connected with this network, because I already mentioned the mobile ad hoc network having a long chain of node. So multiple nodes can be connected to this network. The computer need to be within 100 meters of each other. So it depends on which type of protocol you are using in order to provide the internet connectivity to the another nodes or some other entities involved in the communication. Like in the Bluetooth system, the range can be different. For the Wi-Fi system, the range can be different. For the mobile hotspot, the range can be different. So there are so many types of protocols are here that is used to establish the mobile ad hoc networks, and according to its range you can accommodate number of nodes in your connectivity area. User can delete the network when it is no longer needed. So that is the point that is specified, that this type of network is a temporary type of network, because when I am having a need that I want to connect to the internet in order to transfer a mail, in order to transfer a data or something, in order to communicate with some another people, then I can borrow some data services from my neighboring node via the hotspot or the Bluetooth service, and after finishing my work I can delete this network. So that's why it is called infrastructureless as well as temporary. So it is an infrastructure IP based network of mobile and wireless machine nodes connected with the radio, because mobile nodes are connected with each other with the use of radio communication, as we already seen in the GSM. In operation, the nodes of a MANET do not have a centralized administration mechanism. So in the Wi-Fi system, when there is a Wi-Fi adapter in a room, so all of the services, all of the protocols, all of the things or the maintenance have to be done by this wireless adapter only. my only task is to perform the communication, is to transfer the data from my side to my another neighboring ones. But in the case of MANET, there is no centralized entity, means each node have to be responsible of their task by its own. Okay, so each nodes having the responsibility of their own data transfer. It is known for its routable network properties, where each node acts as a router to forward the traffic to other specified node in the network. As I told you, in the mobile ad hoc networks, every node have own responsibility in order to be maintenance of the connectivity, in order to provide the data rate as well as the transferring of data. So the intermediate node from the source to the destination can be act as a router in order to transfer the data from one node to the another node. So this is the diagrammatic point of view of the MANET. Like in this diagram, you can see there are a lot of wireless devices which are connected to the each other. So suppose this device wants to communicate it with this device, so it can choose various varieties of paths. Like it can choose the path like this one, or it can choose the path this one direct, or it can choose the path this one. So it is the only the responsibility is taken care by this node, that at which path it has to forward the data such that the data can be transferred more efficiently and without packet loss. And also this type of network is temporary, because after establishing of the transferring of data, after the communication has been performed, this mobile phone can be disrupt the connectivity that is communicated between this one, and this one. So what about the mobile IP? As I told you, mobile IP is used to provide the data services to the mobile phones, and DSCP is another protocol that is used to dynamically allocate the IP addresses such that the mobile devices can maintain the connectivity with the internet irrespective of their location. And but what about the MANET? So in the counterpart, the MANET act as a router. In the MANET, each mobile node act as a router. So mobile node has much more to have a routing and end system functionality, right? So MANET research focuses on protocols that enable the mobile devices have the routing and the end system functionality. As I told you, the nodes in the MANET having the responsibility of all the things, like the maintenance of the data connectivity, data rate, transfer of the data, and the system functionalities, routing protocol selection. All things had to be done by the only that mobile node that is performing the communication in the mobile ad hoc network. So these routing functions sometimes exist on the network layer 2 or 3. So obviously the routing protocols are worked over the network 3. Bluetooth is one of the example for this mobile ad hoc network. So by using the mobile hotspot or the Bluetooth, you can create the mobile ad hoc networks from multiple nodes. So this is the architecture diagram, that is the not the architecture, hierarchical diagram of the MANET and the mobile IP. So you can see there is a mobile router which is used to transfer the data from source to the destination, and there are certain mobile devices here. Why it is called the router? Because this one can perform the communication with the neighboring one, that is the one that is called the mobile router, and it has to establish the route between this one and the another one if this node will act as a destination. So there are certain routers have to be selected in the MANET, as well as you can forward the data from all the nodes by serving all of the nodes in the network act as a router. So these are the mobile devices, and now it is the fixed network. So why it is here the fixed network? Actually, at the initial way, the first node having the internet access by using some infrastructure oriented protocol like the mobile IP or the DSCP. From that node, another nodes can get the connectivity of the internet by using the Bluetooth as well as the mobile hotspot. So there is also fixed network in the leaf system, in which the mobile IP and DSCP plays the role. But our mobile network is dependent. The architecture is the hierarchical inherits the hierarchical point like mobile router and the mobile devices. Now, what is the systematic model of a mobile ad hoc networks? As I told you, there is a source and there is a destination, because I am talking about the mobile wireless network. So the intermediate node will be act as a router. So the OSI layer will be invoked for all of the routers involved in the communication, all of the nodes involved in the communication. So what are the characteristics of the MANET? The first characteristics that it has lack of fixed infrastructure, and the topology will get changed very rapidly, because one node can communicate can get the connectivity from another node, as well as after some time it can get the connectivity from some another node in the network. So like the same way, the topology can be changed of the nodes for the mobile ad hoc networks. So what are the bandwidth constraint variable capacity links? It is very obvious, because if there is a certain wireless adapter who provides me an internet connectivity or the bandwidth such that I can access the internet, but if I am providing the connectivity to some other nodes involved in the communication in my room or in my connectivity area, then there can be so many issues, like the bandwidth constraint in the terms of fading, in which the bandwidth can be, the data rate can be reduced, certain noise can be created, because the protocols that is invoked by the wireless adapter and the first node having a certain security features as well as some noise detection tools. But when the communication is performed from one node to the another node in the terms of hotspot or the Bluetooth, that invoking protocols in order to detect or delete the noise is not there. That's why the noise will be getting invoked in the terms of communication or connectivity is performed between the one node to the another node in the mobile ad hoc networks. And like the same way, if there is a noise, then there can be a chance of interference. Like there, it may be possible that more than one node wants to provide you the connectivity. So it may be possible that I can connect to this network, and due to fading, I jumped and interrupted the communication connectivity from the previous node, and I can connect to the another node. So this type of interference can be seen in the mobile ad hoc network. Energy constraint operation, because the mobile ad hoc networks, the nodes have to do a lot of things. So the battery draining is one of the most drastic issue in the mobile ad hoc networks. So as I told you, there are certain protocols invoked regarding the voice detection as well as security protocols also, when I am performing the communication between the the wireless adapter and the first node, that is the one hop network. So in this case, even eavesdropping, spoofing and denial of service attack will not be happened, means the chances are very less. But in the case like the first node provide the connectivity to the another nodes, then there is no such tight security or the tight protocols are there over this communication. So there is a maybe chance that this type of things can be happen in the intermediate nodes communication. Then distributed peer-to-peer mode of operation, obviously, because we have to transfer the data, and each node will be act as a router. So I can make the connectivity and download the data from my neighboring one, as well as another node can provide the data and the connectivity from their own neighboring ones. So multi-hop routing, because there are multiple nodes involved in the communication, so it is count as a multi-hop. And routing, because it is used to transfer the data, so we have to select a particular nodes in order to provide the route. Frequent changes on the connection relative to the area. Frequent changes because of the fading, noise or interference, or some security breaches are there. So they may be possible that topology can be changing from time to time. Then manage operation constraints. So low processing capabilities, because the nodes have to do a lot of tasks, so processing will get minimized. Low bandwidth wireless links, because all of the nodes involved in the communication get access the connectivity, internet connectivity from the only one wireless adapter. That's why the bandwidth is subdivides into multiple bandwidths, and the speed can be reduced. And low storage. Why it is low storage? Because the cache provided in your mobile system is not so much high, but the cache provided at the wireless adapter is much high, because I am communicating with the first one node that is used to get the connectivity services from the wireless adapter. So it may be possible, because my parent node is the first node, so the first node having the caching which is used to maintain the services which is required by me, as well as the routing path which is required by me. So the first parent node that is involved in the communication, that had accessed the connectivity services from the mobile, sorry, not the mobile, get the connectivity services from the wireless adapter, is having a very low storage. So that will create a certain problem like the packet loss or the buffer overflow. Low battery power, because one of the most drastic issue in the MANET is draining of the battery, because one thing again I have to repeat more than like these devices are having a lot of responsibilities. So flooding is unacceptable, and periodic messages required for reliable communications, and route alternation must be made quickly, because it is a topology continuous changing type of network. Best protocol needed to satisfy all of these problems. Then what are the applications? So applications can be like environmental monitoring, in which we have to collect the data from the remote location, security monitoring, road traffic monitoring in the MANET, like the regular Adhoc networks, sensors that detects weathers and presence of some animals. So some sensors have to be deployed over the animals, and when the animal is approaching to the high population density area, then it can provide some signals to the our mobile system, such that the forest department can easily detect, okay, this type of dangerous animal is approaching or coming to the high population density area, and they have to take certain actions in order to prevent the people. And energy efficient system. Then the military. So for the military it worked very well, because in the area of Jammu and Kashmir, like and the northeast also, there is a lot of internet connectivity issues, because disaster has to be happen again and again, and lot of things, and the emergency situations are there. So this type of mobile Adhoc network provide the services and the internet connectivity to the users there. Then emergency applications in the terms of natural disaster, this type of mobile Adhoc network plays a very vital role. Network size. What is the MANET design issues? So first one is network size and node density, and the connectivity, network topology, and user traffic. So what is the network size? Network size is the coverage area of the network. And what is the node density? Sorry, network density. Network density is number of nodes presents in that geographical area in that network size, called the network densities. So clustering requires to keep low on overheads in communication in a larger network. So what is the clustering? Basically, clustering is needed to divide a bigger problem into the smaller ones, such that each can get serviced in a proper way. Like in the IIIT Nagpur, the first batch of the 50 students are there, so there is no need to divide the sections. But in the second batch, there are around 100 students. So in order to serve each students in a good way, in a proper way, they have to make the sections, like section A and section B. So that is called the cluster. So in the one cluster, that is called section A, there are 50 students, and another section that is called section B, and the clustering B is having again 50 students. So clustering size depends on the density of the network also. Like in one cluster, how many nodes have to be feeded. So this depends on the density of the network. Like in the upcoming batch, they have a 220 strength of students, I think. So there can be more than clusters have been created, like A, B, C, D, and each cluster does not mandatory that it can cooperate the 50 students. It might be cooperate 40, it might be cooperate 35, in order to serve, in order to provide the good services to the students. Then another design issue is the connectivity. Connectivity refers number of neighbors nodes. Link capacity is based on the connectivity, like link capacity in the terms of data rate, and it is keep on changing, because it is a ad hoc type of network. So the connectivity can be changed. One node can use the connectivity from the another node, and after some time it can get the services from the some another node. Another one is network topology. So network topology and the connectivity are the same things, and the network topology is very dynamic in the case of mobile ad hoc networks. User traffic, because a user traffic can get very high because lot of nodes are connected in a particular network size and a network cluster. So in this, lot of traffic can be generated. So how many types of traffic is? The first one is called bursty traffic, in which the low packets as well as the larger packets can be sent simultaneously, and lot of packets have to be sent at a particular time. That is called the bursty traffic. The second one is called the larger packet sent periodically, and because the processing of the larger packets will get large time. Like if you want to download a movie which is about the 6 GB of size, then it will take lot of time because the movie size is very high, and the server has to decompose this packet that is processed by intermediate router. So this type of processing has to be done over the large packets, and it takes more time. And the traffic can be type of both, like bursty traffic is coming, and the packets can be large as well as the small. Operational environment. So operational environment may be differ, like the urban, rural, and the maritime. So most of this requires a line of sight LOS communication system, because we have required a power in order to provide the connectivity. So that is called the line of sight. Node density differs all the time. MANET may suit for this. Like if the node density is less, then MANET provides more services as well as a high data rate to the users. But if the node density is high, then the data speed can be reduced. Then what are the energy constraints? Because of there is no infrastructure, and each node having the responsibilities of all the functionalities of the system, to run all the functionalities of the system. That's why there is no reliable power source. Extra roles like routers, routing work loads drain the battery quickly. Node must keep in sleeping mode when the overhead occurs to save the batteries. So routing in the MANET, because the one of the most major issue of the MANET is how to transfer the data from source to the destination, because there is no infrastructure, there is no specific protocol that told you that this protocol you have to choose, and all the responsibility is mitigated by the central authority, just like the wireless adapter, and it can forward the packet for you. But in the case of MANET, all the things, all the functionalities have to be done by the each entity involved in the communication. So what are the challenges of the routing? Packet routing is much complex task in the dock networks compared to the infrastructure based network, because the topology is dynamic. We cannot predict which one is the next neighboring node, and after some time which one will become the next. So prediction is, and the prediction error chance will get very higher in the terms of mobile ad hoc network communication, as well as the battery power constant. Suppose I am the intermediate node and I want to transmit the data to my neighboring node, but my battery power of my mobile is very low, and it get all batteries exhausted when I forward the packet, and in the term what happens, the packet will get dropped in the medium and the packet get lost. So this is one of the drawback of the routing protocols. And also purpose of routing is to find the best path for destination to deliver the packets from the center. So as you see from the previous diagram, that there may be multiple paths possible from source to the destination, and the sender has to be select the best one. So what is the key term? The key term is we have to first study the traditional routing protocols, and from the traditional routing protocols we have to think that what are the functionalities or what are the updation we have to provide the existing traditional routing protocols, such that it can cope up of all occurred all of the issues in the mobile ad hoc network routing mechanism, and it will be best suited for their operational functionalities. So MANET must concentrate on these, like forwarding the packet to the next hop, Also ensure that the packet moves towards the destination. Number of hops means the hop count should be minimized, delay should be minimized, packet loss should be minimized, as well as there should no be looping concept over the medium. So essential of traditional routing protocol. So analysis of the traditional routing protocol like the link state protocol and the distance vector protocol. So as the name indicates, link state protocol, we have to uh, concentrate on the status of the link, like the data rate or the link capacity of the ongoing and the incoming link. Like if I am the particular node and I have to take care about the links which is associated with me, that is going from me to my neighbors. And the distance vector protocol. So the distance vector protocol is the another traditional routing protocol mechanism in which we have to carry two vectors. The first one is the distance and the another one is the direction. So what is the link state protocol? So in the link state protocol, each node has to maintain the connection with its neighboring node, and it has to provide the link state information. And this link state information have to be flooded in the network. And every routers has their link state packet database, that is LSPDB, and stores the link state advertisement. Each router creates a connectivity graph using the LSPDB and register algorithm and find the shortest path. Now the node involved in the communication have two matrices. The first one is called link state, means each node has having the information that okay, these are my neighbors and these are the links associated with the neighbors, and these are the data rate as well as the link capacity to that is going to the neighbors, as well as I have to follow the Dijkstra algorithm because I have to maintain the shortest path. The shortest path is used to overcome the larger delay as well as the packet looping also. Then what are the drawbacks of the LSP? Because each protocol has some drawbacks. So some drawbacks are over the link state protocol also. So the link state protocol like LSP exchange information from each other. Each node actually constructs the tree using the link state information. Local router acts as a root for the tree. The router itself computes the best path to every node from itself. Frequent hello packets are exchanged to check the connectivity. No sharing of routing information with its neighbor. Unless advertisements are sent whenever the connectivity changes. Alice advertisement contains only the identity of the router originating the message, and the another one is the identity of all its neighbor. Means each node have to perform the means have to maintain the routing path from source to the destination by achieving the link state information from its neighbor. Then what about the distance vector routing protocol? In the distance vector routing protocol, the routes are advertised as vectors like the distance and the direction. Then it is the previous version of the Bellman-Ford. It is based on the Bellman-Ford algorithm. It shares everything with its neighbor and computes the topology. Each router computes the distance based on their perspective and generates the routing table, and the table is broadcasted to the neighbors. Means each node has to maintain the routing table information, and this table has to be broadcasted to their neighbors. Node updates the routing table from the neighbor sent by the neighbor and forwards the changes to its neighbor. If there is a certain changes occurred in the incoming table or the suggested in the incoming table, then what the node will do, node will update the information in the existing table and forwards that the updated table to its neighbor. So DB simply calculates the direction which a packet should be forwarded, as well as it has to calculate its own distance from the destination. So calculation of the distance done by using the two protocols. Like the first one is called the routing information protocol, RIP, which is used to count the number of nodes that is the packet has to be traversed from the source to the destination. And the another protocol invoked is interior gateway routing protocol. So this interior gateway routing protocol is used to tell the certain matrices, like the feedback mechanism. It can provide you that if you choose this neighbor, then this neighbor will provide you a delay of this much time, as well as if you select this link that is going towards this neighbor, then the available bandwidth to you is so on. Then what is the difference between routing in MANET and the traditional routing protocol? In the traditional routing protocol, node does not involve in the routing, but in the MANET, every node has to be act as a router. In the traditional routing protocol, the topology is static most of the time. The topology is static, but in the MANET, it's for sure it is guaranteed that it is a dynamic topology. Also, routing is easy task because in frequent table updates. In the MANET, frequent routing table updates required. In the traditional, simple IP scheme and the IP protocols can be invoked, and MANET complex scheme takes a part. Means there is a research is going on over the MANET to simplify its issues related to the IP scheme as well as routing protocols. So there are three types of communication involved in the MANET. The first is called the unicast. The unicast is basically when we perform the communication, when one node is perform the communication with the another node. Suppose I am having I have a mobile phone, and by creation of the mobile hotspot, I provide the connectivity to only my friend. So this is called one-to-one communication. What is the multicast? Multicast, if I invoked the services of mobile hotspot in my phone, then more than one friends can establish the communication, establish the connectivity with my hotspot. That is called the multicast. And the broadcast is if I invoked the mobile hotspot feature in my mobile phone, then all of the entities in my cluster, in my connectivity area range, has to maintain the connectivity, has to grant the connectivity from my mobile hotspot. So that's why it is called unicast, multicast and broadcast. So classification of the unicast MANET routing protocol. So that is called the first one is proactive routing protocol. So in the proactive we have to maintain the table. The second one is reactive routing protocol. So in order to mitigate the energy constraint that is occurred in the MANET, there is a reactive protocols are there, in which we have to provide the rules when it is needed. And the third one is called the hybrid routing protocol. So in the hybrid routing protocol, this is the mix of proactive and the reactive. So in the proactive, that is called the table driven routing protocol. Each node has to maintain the routing table that has the updated information about the routes to all of the nodes, just like it is the only concept of the destination sequence distance vector routing protocol, in which each node has to maintain the table, and this table is consists of all of the information that is involved in the communication topology. Routing tables need to be updated periodically, and lots of control messages are sent for the routing updation. Then the reactive on demand routing protocol. So in this reactive protocol, the route is maintained when it is needed, otherwise not. So routing table is not update always. Suppose if one node wants to transfer the data to the another node to the destination, then it wants a certain routing path, then only the reactive routing protocol will invoked, and it has to maintain the path for that source such that it can transfer the data from there to the destination. But in the case of routing protocol, there is no protocol is invoked, just I have to use the table, because the first node having the table and in the table that consists all of the information that is used to reach the particular nodes in the network, and by using this information I can traverse my packet towards the destination. But in the reactive protocol this is not the case, in which first protocol have to be run, then the protocol will tell you the path, and then you have to follow that path in order to transmit the packet from source to the destination. Then partial route information only available, and it uses the flooding technique to discover the routes. Like I am knowing that this is my neighbors, and in order to discover the routes I am communicating with my neighbors that I want to transmit the data, kindly provide me the route to this destination. This is designed to reduce the overhead of large networks, because in the proactive routing protocol, the previous one, the routing table has to be broadcasted over in the medium again and again, so overhead is very large in the medium, but in the case of this, overhead is get minimized, so it is invoked when it is needed in order to transfer the data. Highly efficient when the frequent updates are not needed. If the nodes are static and not fully static, it's a kind of static and there is no jumping from one network to the another network, then this type of reactive protocol can be utilized better. So under this category, two types of routing protocols are invoked. The first one is called dynamic source routing protocol, DSR, and the another one is Adhoc on demand distance vector routing protocol, AODV. Then the third one is called hybrid routing protocols. As I told you, hybrid routing protocols is only the combination of proactive and reactive routing protocols, and it is used to provide the connectivity based on the zones and the associated invoked protocol. That's why called zone routing protocol. It's used to provide the scalability, as well as it can provide you the issues occur from the discovery overhead. So this is all of the topics in this session that is covered by me. So in the next session I will cover all of the protocols that is associated with the proactive, reactive and the hybrid protocols. Also I will discuss some security features related to the MANET, and after that I will jump to the VANET, that is the Vehicular Ad Hoc Network. So thank you.